Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, The Health Hunters. I'm Roxanne.
And I'm Fernando here.
Yes, today's another herb day.
Yes. Excuse my Latin episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But we're going to bring some good herbs up here and explore a little bit about them, introduce them to you, the different applications of these herbs.
Yes. And guess the herb in the Latin language.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Fernando?
I'm ready. Let's see what this herb of the week, right?
My first one. It's probably easy. Salvia Officinalis.
Oh, Salvia Officinalis, right? Officinalis?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, in the other episode, we explored a little bit what officinalis stand for.
That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it means like he has an official used on the medical, is a materia medica, what means like he has material for the medical applications on it, for instance. But salvia, yes, I know.
You know
salvia.
what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a plant, right? Yeah.
Of course.
Called salvia himself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, salvia. And then the common word that we use.
Oh, that's one. No.
Sage.
Oh, sage. Oh, okay. All right. That was like a distracted moment up there.
But to be honest, I didn't know salvia is sage. I didn't know that official name.
No, okay. I just probably didn't connect it because of the two names and because we are bilingual, we speak like different languages. That's probably the reason why I thought there were like two different languages up there, two different herbs out there. But apparently it's like the same herb. So sage is the word, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me more. Then what was your
I was
foundings?
Super surprised. There are so many different types of sage types. Really.
Yeah.
A lot, because it's grown like worldwide. So in America, there are like 900 total of different species of sage. And the other region in Central America and South America, about 600 different species. And Central Asia and the Mediterranean, it's 250 species.
Wow.
And Eastern Asia, 90.
Wow, they have a lot of cousins, is that?
Yeah, different types. I just stick to the simple sage, that we use in the kitchen.
Yeah, because sage is used in the kitchen, but it also can be used in different ways. But I think my question, because that so many different cousins of sages, I'm wondering like how actually sage look like. You know what I mean? Like what is the...
How does it
grow
look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has these leaves are quite long and hairy and...
Yeah, kind of matte, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it has this... Yeah, you can really see the veins of the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're olive.
And the smell, it has this particular odor.
Yeah. I kind of like it. I
you
know
like it?
Yeah, I like it because... I think it goes very well when you cook it with meat, even if I don't eat meat myself, you know what I mean? But back in the days, I remember to have that extremely aromatic smell on it.
How would you describe it?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's a very, very floral, even if it's coming from the leaf, the smell, right? Like the most of the essential oils, right? The most volatile smells are coming from the leaf. It's still very floral.
Yeah. For me, it's such a strong smell that sometimes I don't like it, or it's too strong.
Oh, too strong.
Yeah.
They use also to make it perfumes out from it, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfume and tea, and then so how it grows? It grows about 60 centimeters tall, and like what we already said, it has these oval leaves, with this wrinkled, matte texture.
Hey, it looks like a turtle. A turtle.
Turtle, yeah.
A turtle.
Turtle.
What is
and it has this gray-green, whitish green color of the leaves. And it has also flowers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was not aware about the flowers of sage.
Yeah.
They are also useful or mainly like...
Yeah, so the flowers are... Now, I'm not sure if they're used for medical applications, but they attract also bees and butterflies and hummingbirds.
Oh, yeah,
which
nice.
is nice because if you want to attract bees or butterflies
Yeah.
or hummingbirds, plant it in your garden, you know?
I have like some sages around.
Yes. Yeah.
Sage,
At the same time, it smells also nice in your garden.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice.
And the flowers, it can be purple, pink, white, red. Yeah.
Beautiful colors for all the bees being attracted to it, right? Like who will not be attracted to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why probably the bees go again like after people because they smell like sage when they use it in perfumes and people trying to not being chased by bees, you know, like yeah.
And for the medical application, it's also very. I learned a lot from it. For example, it's really useful for Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer, no.
So to be exact, taking 2 different sage species, which is the normal one, the Salvia Officinalis, and the Salvia lavandulgalofolia.
Well,
Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but
excuse
excuse
the Latin up here.
Yeah, and if you take that for 4 months, you can see your improvement.
No, that's already been researched. Like
It's like very effective. I mean, that's what they researched. And another one is mental performance. So when you take a single dose of common sage or the Spanish sage, there's so many different ones.
Wow, yeah, it's like you said in the beginning, it has so much exploration, so much research had to be done.
And it improves memory, alertness, and attention. And then it's also good for high cholesterol. Taking sage.
So it's good to lower the cholesterol. Is that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. I meant that. Lowering.
Hope people is like, what much cholesterol I'm going to have today is like 500 grams of butter with sage on it. So, which actually, that's how my grandmother used to cook the sage. She used to
with butter.
The butter, yes. She used to the leaves and not fried. It has a name from it, like for cooked a little bit the sage,
so that's why.
And then use the butter on top of some steaks or some beef.
It makes so much sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, why is sage and butter a good combination? Well, it lowers your cholesterol.
There you go.
There we
go. Yeah, so it allows you to eat butter correctly.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it also helps with menopause symptoms. Sage.
Steaks and sage, butter for all the women in the world and on the golden age, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Very good recommendation.
But just saying, this is a disclaimer, everyone. We're also...
This is the moment of the disclaimer.
Yeah, just a disclaimer.
It's serious here.
If you have a serious issue, just contact your general GP. This is just for learning purposes, what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, introducing the herbs and the plants for people so they are be a little bit more aware because most of these herbs, and we want to bring it here to the show, some of them people already take them in some way in supplements and vitamins, but they are like an ingredients part of it. And
it's just in our kitchen,
Yeah, and then also that it could be like on our kitchen and to improve that, how to actually improving our different seasoning, different types of flavors but in the same way bringing like all this beneficial health.
Now I'm going to talk about the side effects on sage.
Yeah, the contraindications of sage. Let's see.
Okay, so people who are pregnant and breastfeeding, when consuming, you consume like this thurjone. No, I'm going to skip this word. Well, it's interesting though.
What a word is it?
Thurjone. Thurjone. It's a chemical found in sage, and then that kind of affects the menstruation, and it can also cause maybe a miscarriage.
Yeah, for people trying to get pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily very recommended.
No. And then another one is people who are hormone-sensitive conditions, such as uterine cancer.
Yeah, they're very. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why like when you mentioned about maybe it had more side effects for women, that's probably what I can hear it from here.
Yeah.
But you also have very good benefits for for women who are doing menopause or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
after yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, a good interesting plant and benefits for people who have Alzheimer. Yeah, all right. Yeah, good to know. Yeah.
And some other ones are like high blood pressure and low blood pressure. So you need to be careful about that. And seizure disorders, which has also when you consume a lot of this thujain chemical, then it triggers the seizures.
Oh, wow. All right.
So this thujain chemical is very important. So with this, yeah, it triggers the seizure, or when a person who is pregnant or breastfeeding, it's also kind of interacts.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Hopefully, like people don't get like the idea of taking too much sage.
No, I think that's impossible. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, of course, like you
or
need
unless
maybe.
you have these supplements, right?
Yeah,
Of sage.
I'm not even talking about supplements. I think like if you do high amounts of extractions of sage to do that, I think in terms of supplements when they are used for commercial, like different vitamins and so on, they have a number of a toxicity level that you can consume, and it will not be the full bottle. Then will affect you like that way.
Yeah.
I would probably. I mean, of course, I don't know about this, but the fact of you can buy them on the counter in any grocery shops, probably like this, or it means like still the level is low, except when it's done like maybe when they isolated this specifically compound from sage and then doing different type of maybe not necessarily like in a oral way, like in the digestive system, but more intravenous, like through the vein. Then it can really do like this type of seizures and maybe even drops in the eyes and so on. Like exists, of course, different methods of consumption of any of these products like that, right? But
So that was Salvia officinalis.
Salvia officinalis.
Fernando, what's your herb?
Okay, so I'm going to bring some very interesting herbs up here. Foeniculum vulgare is the name of the herb that I'm bringing. Excuse my Latin, everyone. Let's try it again. Foeniculum vulgare. I think it's not even that. Okay, but that's it. Yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
Vulgare. Well, vulgare. It doesn't give you a hint. Vulgare. It's something that is vulgar, like or something that is called quite common seen. Foeniculum, of course, it probably doesn't say anything to you, but is basically fennel. Fennel is actually
old fennel.
Fennel is a very common plant apparently out there. As I was doing like my research over this plant, I was also quite surprised how worldwide this plant is standing, you know what I mean? Like, and how in poorly soil this plant can hold it, because
how does this plant look like?
Well, so it's actually it's very similar to many other plants, like as for instance deal and thyme, for instance. Yeah, they are
very thin, delicate.
Well, in the end of it, because they can be very thick on very close to the bulb, what is, you know what I mean, like closer to the root part area. It can be quite thick, that stem of this plant. Yeah, and but yeah, it's still like it's very similar. Sometimes they can really misidentified because of it, Still, like some of these plants, they do some of these species. They can be poisonous, but the one that I'm not bringing that today, it's not poisonous. The one that we use it also in the kitchen. Yeah, it can be a very tall plant. It's it can produce like tiny flowers, yellow flowers, like as we see has like this. It looks like a lot of arms coming out with small flowers on it, and it's a quite nice. You know what I mean? Like it's a tall plant. It has extremely high flavor into fennel. It's very high used also in the kitchen. I mean,
How does it smell like? If you could describe it.
it's very difficult to describe because I think it's a definition for me as describing like the flavor, any other flavors. I would say like, it smells like fennel.
Fennel.
How do you describe fennel?
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a very
It
interesting.
reminds me of this Dutch sweet licorice.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet, right? Yeah.
It's do you know the licorice?
Licorice, yeah.
That kind of smell.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can put that in words. It's not minty either, but it has this sweet.
No, it has like a very aromatic. Is that's what it's saying?
Yeah.
Like it's soup. Like it had the characteristic of it is like whoop,
It has a strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quite decent one.
And can you use the entire parts of the plant?
Yeah, mainly people use the bold part of it. You know what I mean? Like the bold part. You know,
The down
part
Down
of the
part.
plant. Yeah,
not the roots, but the
not the roots, but that part between of
Yeah.
the roots and the stems. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
No, as we are saying up here, like I think it's very similar to anise, like the flavor. The
yeah,
plant
yeah,
anise,
that's
right?
that kind of
The one that
yeah.
is normally used to make absinthe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite like remind me like as that type
Yeah.
of plant. Yeah, and in these parts of the plant they produce like these very volatile oils. Then it's very used from different types of things. Like if you they are also used as insecticides, for instance. Back in the days they were using like as insecticides.
And
I
what
mean,
does
like
that mean?
it's making the insects go away.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like goodbye insects. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but
Like a repeller.
a repeller. Yeah,
Oh,
insect
okay.
repeller. Maybe it's like that the best way like for that. Yeah, fennel is.
Yeah, and what's the medical application?
Yeah, the medical applications of fennel. It's actually, as we have an episode with Andrea the last week. I did this research a little bit about plants and herbs, the connections with that. We know like a lot of these martial arts, they have a more connection with mental, spiritual, and physical, health. And the tea culture was also very essential. The rituals with tea were very essential for the martial art, and drinking tea of fennel was one of the things. But the uses for it in that point when they mentioning this in this classical texts of martial arts, right, were normally used for improving digestion and heart diseases and so on. So keeping like all the blood flowing properly. You know what I mean? Like in that sense, they were mentioning about the energy flowing correctly on the body, because trainings had a lot of physical demanding, right? So a lot of parts of the body were actually quite, damaged, but somehow injuries. So that was making like the blood to circulate better, because the inflammation were, helping with inflammation basically is one of the properties using from fennel. Use it
super
also.
interesting with the martial arts
Yeah, it's a quite decent one. Then we have like the contraindications from it. I mean, as I was looking for it, I didn't find so much information about the contraindication, but one of it was the fact of if people are looking for aphrodisiac therapeutic methods. Actually, fennel is the opposite of it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite, helps like to lower the libido. So probably like in these monasteries, talking already about these monasteries and say like
that makes sense.
That quite makes sense, right? Because trying to
lower the libido,
no libido in there, like trying to reduce that. So that was one of the contraindications, or especially for men and women who want to create more sexual activity for procreating children's, right? That's probably one of the contraindications on it. But like I said, I didn't find so much information about this subject. It's worth it to look deeper on it. I hope like in the next time if we bring these herbs again together, I will come like with more scientific studies over this. But still, I hope like you guys, if you're listening and if you get more information, comments below.
And it's just a great kitchen herb, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Fennel. Yeah, I love it.
Now, fennel has been used like in many things, and as we talk, it goes very well with everything. You know what I mean? Like even as himself, as the festival himself, it just goes super nice. And since we are talking a little bit about the ancient times, like the Greeks and the Romans were using also as a medicine and as an insect repellent. You know, like the parts of it. But it was also used for was believe it like for, as we talking about martial arts, for the warriors before getting to battle to use it, you know, like that herb, mainly probably the fact of the inflammation properties on the maybe happens before of that, so they were drinking the tea before actually going to war or to battle. And according to the Greek mythology, also Prometheus was using like a giant stalk of fennel to carry like the fire from the Olympus to Earth.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was also a very quite interesting part, and I found it very interesting to see like how the mythology plays with the plants, how much it gets at that, especially when it comes to the Greek and the Romans, like this part of history. Yeah, they have like a very quite interesting points of it. Okay, but today one of the biggest production of fennel, even if it's like worldwide, is you can find like this plant even like in the North Hemisphere, India, China, and Bulgaria.
Those were the three top?
The top three, okay.
Top
this
three?
More up there, but this I found it like the top three, especially Bulgaria, because you know.
Bulgaria, yeah.
It's
I would not.
Not a guess from that. You know what I mean? Like why that? I mean, like of course, India and China have like a lot of land to do a lot of production in terms of herbs, and because most of these actually plants were use it and study in these parts of the world. Still, like it was quite to see that how they actually execute it like so well in Europe. Yeah, we still be using them. Other fun fact that I found about it, and I have tendencies that all these herbs and plants are coming to me in somehow in my childhood or so on. In the 15th century, that's not my childhood.
Not your childhood, I hope.
Hope not.
Otherwise, you will be like very old today.
Yes, I'm probably a very old soul. No, so what I was trying to say is like in the 15th century, the Portuguese sailors, when they arrived to Madeira, which is an island in Portugal, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the Portuguese word for actually fennel is funcho. Funcho, yeah. And the capital of it is Funchal.
Hey!
I was like mind-blowing.
So similar.
It's so similar. Then I was like, no, wait a second. These have something here together.
Yeah.
Like the etymology of the cities and so on, and the capitals, and this is one of those. Funchal being like the capital of Funju, or the capital of fennel. Yeah,
That's so funny. Yeah.
It's quite funny. Yeah, no, this was the herb that I brought. My second herb. No, the first herb that I bring, but it's the second herb that we are talking. So now, Roxanne, what other herb then you're going to excuse your Latin?
Right. My second one is Borago officinalis.
It's also other plant, and it has medical function, medical properties and abilities. But say it again, the first name?
Borago officinalis.
Borago officinalis. No idea.
So in our normal language, it is Borago.
Also
not for me, it was also super new.
Okay.
The reason why I picked this is because it's a herb that is in season in March. Since we're in March, and I thought, you know what? Let's try something. Yeah.
Marchy,
yes. Yeah. So this Borago, herb. This is coming from the Mediterranean region. And it's cultivated in various parts of Europe, Great Britain, and North America. And also, I looked at the photo. It's such a beautiful flower, like really nice, deep blue flowers. And these flowers look like star-like flowers.
It's a star. They have like a star. Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's very spatial.
It's so pretty. Yeah. And so these flowers are on a red stalk, and it has so 5 bright yellow stamen, and that form a cone.
Oh, so they form a cone. The
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The flower.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flower form a cone. Oh.
Yeah, form a cone, and it attracts bees.
Oh yeah, they are heavy pollinator. Yeah, they're heavy pollinators. Yeah.
Yeah, and this Borago, we use the leaves and the flowers in salads. I did not know this.
Oh, so it's
an eatable plant.
The full plant, like
the
leaves and the flowers.
Yeah, yeah. And then we can also cook the plants as a vegetable. You know, the other parts of the plants.
Yeah. Okay. The root is a root or is a bulk of.
I don't think the roots are not included, but the stalk and everything.
Yeah.
As just normal vegetables, boiling or cooking. And the dried leaves are used to season stews or soups and flavor the wine and other drinks. And what they say, it smells like cool cucumber like aroma.
A cool cucumber aroma? But normally cucumber tastes like water.
No, but the smell.
Yes, yeah. The smell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's
or the taste, yeah. Really subtle, maybe, yeah.
Okay. No, cucumber. Yeah, I mean, if you have telling me describing the cucumber, I would probably say like, yeah, definitely, it's like kind of green, refreshing, type of flavor, very earthy
and subtle, like really subtle taste. I think, like really soft, like taste.
Yeah.
But
still, yeah.
Yeah. So it's an annual plant. That means that a plant that completes the life cycle in a single growing season. And it grows up to 60 centimeters tall, and it has large, rough, long leaves. Yeah. So now the medical application. So the leaves and flowers are used for the medical application, and especially the seed oil is used for medical application.
So the extraction of the active compound will be founded on the seed, is that?
The seeds, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have like a skin disorder, eczema, red, itchiness, and rash on the scalp, it's really good. And also the flowers and leaves are used for fever, cough, and depression. And it's also used for hormonal problems. Yeah, and Borago is also used for increasing breast milk production. So
okay. Completely, yeah.
Completely the opposite from sage.
From sage, yeah.
And now the side effects. So this is all based on the Borago seed oil. So for someone who have bleeding disorders, which is bad, or liver disease, and also like if you are planning to have a surgery, you should not take Borago seed oil.
Right.
So it might increase the risk of bleeding during and after surgery.
Oh, so it actually doesn't help the clogging of the blood, perhaps, is that?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe it really makes your blood more thin.
Yeah, exactly. It's not clogging.
Clogging, yeah. What you're saying, yeah.
But on the elements of the blood, what makes the blood clogging when it's in contact with oxygen? You know what I mean? Like, it actually kind of gets thicker. You know what I mean? Like when we have an open wound. But as you said, if you are if you are in a surgery and you're taking that, you don't want to take that type of.
No, you will bleed out.
Yeah.
And okay, this is a bit confusing, but so this is only on seed oil. So for pregnancy and breastfeeding, if that makes sense. So the leaves and the flowers are good for breastfeeding, milk production,
Yeah.
but not using the seed oil.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Again,
Okay.
is the seeds, then it contains the active compound of such a negative or a counteractive effect. Yeah. Understood. Well, that's a very interesting verb. Yeah. I have to look at that up. You know what I mean? Like maybe we'll put it on Instagram, like that one, because if you say so pretty.
Just the deep blue.
The deepest blue. Yeah. Beyond blue.
So that was my second herb. What is yours?
Okay, and now I'm going to bring my second herb, and you go by the name of Taraxacum. Maybe I'm not saying that. No, obviously I'm not saying this correctly, but I'm going to try to do my best again. Taraxacum. Taraxacum. Maybe making a little bit more Anglicizing of word. Taraxacum. I don't know. Taraxacum. Basically,
what is it?
Dandelion.
Oh,
Dandelion. It's a very, very common word plant. So common, then it became like a weed plant and a very undesired plant, right? Because we see it like everywhere. It's very and the fun thing, it has so many predators. You know what I mean? Like predators, not necessarily probably the right word, but there's a lot of animals who eat this plant, especially the flowers of it, like deers and other animals who actually, cows, they eat a lot of this plant. It's super common, but even though it's still like present in every like city in the world, like is growing, you know what I mean? Like she's very aggressive in terms of propagation. But let's like talk a little bit about the morphology of the plant, the way the plant looks like. So she actually doesn't grow like more than 5 to 40 centimeters. The leaves have like a very like the edges of the leaf are very it looks like a saw, you know what I mean? Like a cutting board of saw, you know what I mean?
Like a zigzagging or like
that's not, I mean, I kind of saying that, but everybody probably have seen that plant, anyway. But I'm going to try to do my best here. So yeah, they have that, and of course, like they produce like this beautiful flower, and then they come like this yellow, beautiful ball, like this is a tiny ball coming out from it. Then you produce like that. Normally, people blow like on it, and then it
I
goes.
used to do that when I was a kid. It was so much fun.
Like asking if your dad is he has hair or is bald, and then you ask, and then if he was bald, he was going away, but if he's not, he was staying. It was I remember that as a kid to do that type of thing. It's a quite decent one. It's
and can you eat those flowers?
Yeah, you can eat the flowers. It's a full eatable plant, which is insane because it grows so much everywhere and has so much nutrition also. And I mean, for as humans, we do that. Insects, they look at more because of such a pollen and nectar for many pollinators out there. Probably is the fact of being so attractive for insects, being like that yellow color, attracting like the insects so that they're getting into the plant and pollinate so fast. Of course, all the plant you can use it, but the mainly active compound is called like taraxolicin. The production is normally founded on the roots of the plant, on this chemical compound, and normally happens like in April because it's the month where the plant has more developed, like after the winter, So as after March, then this now when we look at these plants after you listen to this, the plant it will be like producing so much of this dandelion roots. Is very high in potassium. It contains so much potassium. This plant is actually quite nice.
Oh, that's really good.
It's I think like we see it like in these supplement stores also. Like the dandelion is probably like one of the very common and easy to identify plant when you look at like different drawing like botanic drawings and so on of this plant. It has like now it's talking about like in a nutrition content, but also like the medical applications of it, is a very diuretic activity on it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it helps really
Nice.
to
Helps with your stools.
yeah, it's a pretty good one. You know what I mean? Like actually the word in I found like of course facts while I'm using looking at that. I found like the in French dent de lion. Is similar than also in Portuguese, like then is the tooth of of a lion. I don't really know like why you get like into that translation, but then the lion. The other name that they have for that is pissenlitten, which basically means like wet in bed, or because of
What in bed?
because you pee.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I don't like.
yeah, wet in bed. Okay,
Yeah, you pee like when so you should not take too much of it because otherwise you pee in bed.
Oh, that way.
yeah, but it's a quite interesting part from it. You know what I mean? Like on this plant.
Yeah.
The plant is have like several culinary also uses. People even can make wine out from this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't I never actually tried it before, but next time I'm going to this.
Gonna try that out?
Well, like that's a quite decent one, right? Like to see what they could do with dandelion wine. Also using it in salads, the green parts of it, like the leaves are normally used for making salads, and the roots are made it for coffee substitute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coffee substitute. You basically bake them and then you grind it. They become like that roasted brown like part of it, and is used as coffee substitute because it doesn't really have caffeine, but it contains like a lot of these great flavors and tastes.
Would it taste also kind of similar like coffee, would you say?
I'd probably say yes, because that's the reason why they call it coffee substitute, right?
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise it would be something else, then you could, use it from that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the side effects, the versus effects of the plant, so as people had, as I mentioned before, was like normally used as a diuretic. So for people who have suffering from renal diseases, or they have to be cautious about like the uses of this as a supplement, because it contains high amounts of potassium and it makes you go to the toilet very often. And if you have any problems in that area, right, like
then you should be careful.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting plant because it's so common out there. Then people look at the plant as almost like nothing, right? But it has everything from that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's my plant for today.
All right, then that means we reached the end.
Yeah, we are in the end of the show. Roxanne, did you learn a lot from this?
Yes, I learned a lot. It was amazing. Yes, super nice.
Nice. I also really learned a lot doing this research. It was a very impressive, looking at these plants and together with the martial arts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how these two plants actually connected so well with that, since it's the theme of this month. So, guys, thank you so much for listening for this herbology episode.
Yes, and if you find anything interesting, please comment on our Instagram, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we will see you all next week.
Yeah, next week will be, yes. Okay, guys, thank you so much and stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.